Good day. This is another wonderful time to come up and to discuss over an important issue on this platform that regards to issue of someone you want to marry. For you to know, there is need to know certain things before you propose to marry. And this time we want to look into the age-wise. Somebody was asking a question some times ago and she said, Daddy, if a young lady that want to marry to a man is older than that man, I said, how? He said, for example, the age of the young man is 25 and the age of that lady happened to be 35 or within 35 and 37. Then I said, it may work in some country, but not every country because of the issue of a culture. I told you sometimes that we have what we believe in our country is different from what people believe in other countries. In the Western world, that one may happen, and that may be okay. But in case of Africa, it may not be okay. Remember, I said something that day that we believe in Africa. We believe in primacy, and the Western world believe in privacy. This issue can still affect that angle in issue of marriage. For instance, in Nigeria or in Africa, when a man want to marry, they always look for somebody that their age is more higher than the age of the lady or at parallel. When I'm talking about parallel, it means the age of the man and the ladies are not far away, towards almost the same, rather than the age of the lady much higher than that of man, because of the issue that has to do with what we believe in Africa. Every woman has element of pride to some extent. And that is why you meet with a woman that want to marry to somebody that is much older than her. And she still be comfortable to call the man and say, Johnson, want to call the name of that person she want to marry. Yes, it is very good in Africa here. But other part of the world, when we want to look in that age-wise, it may not be work in Africa here, but especially in some country in Africa. But other part of the world, especially in the area of the Western world, it may be okay. But it's not all that encouraged, especially if the age-wise, if the gap is too much. You want to marry to a lady, and your age, within the age of that young lady, you have something like a 10 years difference. It's not all that encouraged in Africa here, especially in Nigeria, even other part of the world. Why? The age-wise, the gap is too much. And if the gap is too much, there are sometimes when you have a little confrontation or disagreement, it may affect the relationship. Take for instance, the lady may just begin to feel as if I want to marry to a man. This young man that is not more than my junior brother, that I want to manage to marry to him. And this is somebody that I want to be controlling my life. I don't think that can work. That such an attitude, such a mind can generate in the life of the woman. At the same time, that man that want to marry to a woman that has level of age much higher and the gap is too much, it will be difficult, very difficult for them to manage. The only condition that may make it work to some extent, if the lady want to humble herself to the level that whatever the man says, she will agree. And that is the only condition. And that condition at times may not even work, sometimes. And that is why it's not always that encouraged to go through such a thing and say you want to marry to somebody as a man to a woman that is older than you. age-wise. If the gap is too much, it is not always that okay, because in issue of marriage, what may work in one country may not likely not to work in every other country because of our belief. I told you that we believe in Africa, we believe in primacy. The Western world believe in privacy. And you understand what a privacy and primacy means. I said it that day, that primacy is saying that that young man, it is my younger brother gave birth with his mother so that I can pack to that man at any time. I remember that my mother told me that she has a brother in so country. I can move to that brother even without trying to discuss the issue with the man. But in case of the Western world, nothing bad there. They are not going to give any audience to such a person. They may not even want to hear that. So that won't still happen in issue of marriage. So in Africa here, it's not always that encouraged to say that you want to marry to somebody that the age-wise, the gap is too wide, especially the age of the woman. But in case of man, if you want to marry to a man that his age-wise is more, at least, more wider, there's no much a problem. A man of 70 can marry to a lady of 25 or 30 as long as they have their own communication is okay and they have a proper understanding. But it's not always a good to marry such a person that you understand that the age-wise is not all that gap. If the gap is too much, it can cause a lot of a problem in Africa here. And that is why we are looking into that opportunity to tell everybody that may want to involve in such a relationship, look into the age of that person you want to marry. And you don't need to develop any lie. Don't lie. Tell them the exact age. There are a lot of a problem that generating in this matter. I remember sometimes ago, a lady and that man that he wanted to marry, that after some couple of time they begin to have a lot of disagreement. I begin to try to ask, what is the bone of contention? Eventually I discovered that the lady fake her name. The lady fake her age. She was trying to bring down the age-wise, her own age, in order to see that he wanted married to that young man. But at the end of the day, the young man eventually discovered the age of that lady, and that was where problems started. Anytime they have a little agreement, the man will say, I know you. You are not a honest person. I know you. You are not a faithful person. I know you. You lie. I know you. You do this and you do that. And that was the end of the relationship. They cannot continue with such a relationship anymore. Why? Because of the age. So if you want to marry to anybody, don't try to fake anything that has to do with age-wise. Tell him or her your age-wise. I am so age. If the man is comfortable to marry, he will marry. If the lady is comfortable to want to marry, you will marry. So you don't need to tell any lies against each other, especially about that relationship when you know that you are interested in such a person. Tell him or her exact what you are. Tell him or her your age wise. I am so age group, and if the person is comfortable, if the person is feel it's okay for him or her to go with that relationship, they will continue. So look into that aspect very well, especially in some country like I've told you. There are some countries that they don't much bother about that, especially the Western world. A man of a 50 can marry to a woman of a 70 in the Western world, but it may not happen in some country, especially in Africa. It's not all that encouraged to go towards that in Africa here. So when you want to marry, tell the opposite sex exact your age. This is also age. If they are interested in going through that marriage into the relationship, they will continue. If they are not really interested, Let them go. God will give you a rightful person. I pray for somebody tonight. God will give exactly the rightful partner you needed, that we journey together without having any problem in Jesus' name. Let me stop here today. We will continue next time. God bless you.